It's always nice to have a plan when you're working on a project. We were talking last time about the Bible. It's like God has this unfolding plan. You know, like in the first 5 books of the Bible, some people call those first 5 books the Torah or the Pentateuch. We start to see God's really cool unfolding plan. The first book of the Bible is called Genesis. It starts with God creating the whole world. It's very good. We meet the first people, Adam and Eve, our ancestors. But then we see that the relationship with God has this brokenness as they fall into this temptation. They sin. This serpent creature tempts them. And so their relationship with God and with each other is broken. Really, that conflict is at the core. It's the foundational to the whole rest of the Bible. But even from those early verses, we see that there's this hope for a rescuer who's going to come, who's going to smash the head of that serpent, who's going to make this problem right again. And we start to see his rescue plan unfolding. A little later on in Genesis, we see that his plan is going to revolve around this family of this guy named Abraham, some of his descendants. It's going to involve a land that God promises to them. This promised land is going to involve a nation of people. There's going to be this blessing. And as the book continues, it leads to this next book of the Bible called Exodus. When we get to Exodus, some of those descendants of Abraham, by that time they live in Egypt, they're slaves there. And God raises up this deliverer, Moses, who's going to lead them to that promised land that God had promised to Abraham. God leads them through Moses' leadership out of Egypt miraculously through the Red Sea, and then takes them to this place in the wilderness of Mount Sinai where he enters this relationship, this covenant, almost like a marriage relationship with them, and gives them his 10 commandments. It's really cool. God comes in a mighty way. He actually lives among them in this tent called the tabernacle. The next book of the Bible, Leviticus, it talks about how God and the Israelites can live together even though God is holy. It's really, really cool. And then the book of Numbers. I think Numbers gets a bad rap, but it is so cool. It's about how God continues to lead this group of people towards the promised land. It's like a road trip that they're going on. I love road trips. I love going on road trips, and you see how they're going through the wilderness and God's leading them through these adventures. Road trips are so much fun. You ever been on a road trip? Hey, let's go on a road trip. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Road trip! Woo! Being on a road trip is like a journey following God. There's fun adventures, unexpected detours, fun sights to see, great company.
Uh-huh.
Let's go! Sometimes on a road trip we come to a fork in the road, a two-way intersection where we have to make a choice. Which way will we go? As Moses led these people of God, these descendants of Abraham who came to be known as the Israelites, as they approached the promised land, as they were just across the river from the promised land, Moses laid out kind of like a fork in a road for them. He explained that they had a choice to obey God or not to obey God. And for them it would mean either blessings or curses. If they would obey, they would be blessed. But if they would disobey, there would be these curses which ultimately would lead to exile from their land. So what would they do? The book of Deuteronomy is kind of like a cliffhanger. It doesn't tell us what would happen. You got to keep tuning in. What will the people do? And what does it have to do with this coming rescuer, this one who's ultimately going to come and smash the head of the serpent? You just got to tune in and find out. But for now, here's the challenge for today. Your life is like a road trip. What will it be like? Will you follow God? I encourage you, take a piece of paper and write out your dreams, write out your passions, think about where you want to be in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, and then give it all to God. One really cool thing is you can write out your prayer. Write out a prayer to God and say, God, here's my dreams. I give it to you, and let God lead your steps.